Hey there, you bunch of legends. Thanks for joining me for another Friday, having a look at the Warne Dawgs and seeing what they're doing, how bad they are, how we attack round 11 we are up to. So the weekend before the buys, quick reminder, I've said this a lot of times recently, but we have our 3 trades for each week of the buys, after this week that is, and our best 18 count. They must come from your on-field 22, so make sure you're doing that. I know some people are like going, oh, can I have 8 defenders play? No, you can only ever have 6 defenders play, but if one of those is a donut, so a non-playing player, a 0, someone from your bench can come on as long as they've got the emergency, and that would come into your 22. Some of the other little questions people ask, when do buy players lock? They lock at the last game of the round, so therefore you are able to make them your loophole, like your captain or even the emergency, which I don't know or think that you really go about that unless you're super stacked with a team and you've got an actual option to decide who you could be playing on field. But anyway, they work like that. You work out the rest of it yourself as you go through. So this is the last week. We've got, issues this week. Our red dot rookies are real. A lot of them are purple, but that's not good either. So we'll have a look at the Warne Dawgs then. Let's get into it. This is where my side is. I had a decent score last week with a 23.74. First time inside the top 10,000 for this year. Shocking. But here's my side prior to trades. So the red dot rookies are the issues that I've got going across here. Wilmot is extended bench at the moment. Hopefully he's playing. But Chesser has been dropped, so he's an emergency. Harry Sharp was dropped, so that was a massive clanger last week. I talked all week about that I was going Wardlaw anyway because Harry Sharp could be dropped, and he was. So I went Sharp in the end, looking ahead at my team, going, I'm probably going to have to get Sharp and then get Wardlaw the week after. Anyway, I should have done the Wardlaw last week, and I wouldn't be in as big a mess as I am. Where else are we? Drury. Now, that's an issue there, possibly. He's got a hip complaint. His extended bench hasn't been that great, especially fantasy-wise. So that could be a drama for him as we head into the weeks ahead. Right. Philippo's still playing for me, Cowan. Now, the issue that I've got is that I have Josh Kelly, so he is out. He's basically 4 weeks, I've said, for that hammy. Has to go, and other people are in the position with Clary Oliver, so a very similar thing with him. And Jason Johannesson as well is another one that a few people have copped along the way, let alone some other little bits and pieces that might actually affect their team. So at the moment, my best case scenario, I might have 5 green dots on the bench. But worst case is Philippou, McAndrew, and... Oh, geez. That's not... Oh, sorry. No, I'll get to that because my trades actually do that. So we'll have a look at what my trades can look like. So let's go the really simple one. I am going to get rid of Lockie Cowan. He needs to go. And he will become... And I'll just flick it onto that one so we can see what's going on. He is going to become Wardlaw. Now, the thing about Wardlaw is that he is there. And that's basically a straight swap. Well, they are a straight swap, exactly the same price. So I will make that move. Now, what that does to my side, before I make my second trade, that will put basically Wardlaw on there. Okay, and I'll go Jinby there as my bench cover. So now I've got Jinby there as an emergency. Wilmot hopefully will be there, Jinby, McAndrew, and then Philippou. So likely 4 red dots there on the bench. Now, that McAndrew one is a bit of a useless one as such, but he might be there to cover English in the buys, and I'll think about that a little bit later. I think I have mentioned a little bit there that you could nearly trade another red dot down to a ruck forward, and then he could flick into the forward line over the buys if he's still there, and that's the biggest thing. They've got the first buy, so anything can happen after a team has a buy. All of those last ones in or the first ones out, that whole reset that we have. Anyway, let's have a look here. So I've got Josh Kelly, so I'm going to trade him now. Obviously, I've got a bit of a pick of whatever I want to do because I've got over a mil and basically anyone I can get. Now, the answer for me is Andy Brayshaw because I do want to go a big dog. There are other ones there. I don't hate Jack Steele, but you can sort of wait another week on him, obviously, and he was the sort of target for me coming out of the buy. So it is Brayshaw. and that's where I'm going to go. It leaves me 61k in the bank because I had a few dollars going into this week, and that's where I go. So the other options there for coaches, I've already got Rory Laird, I've already got Zach Merritt. So I'm probably Laird first, and then I'm probably Merritt, and then into Brayshaw. And it's all about the dollars realistically for that. So I think I'd prefer Laird over Merritt, but geez, it is tight between those guys. This is something I like to do as well. Make sure my players are in price order as we go. Oh my God, stock is worth more than McGrath now. That's ridiculous. Hopefully McGrath can have a good one this week along as we get into that. So that's meaning as well. So Wardlaw now plays on field for me. And I did think, I thought this is where I was hoping that I would end up being with my team, is that I was hoping that I'd end up with only Wardlaw as my rookie on field, because I'm not counting Ashcroft or Sheasel, but that was my thinking before I had the bloody Josh Kelly issue, because that plan was to turn someone, I can't remember who it was, into Ben Hobbs with that. So it's getting Wardlaw and Hobbs there. Anyway, I can't do that, so that's where I am. So the reason I've got Pedler there and Philippou there, so this is a good loopy thing. Saints play against Hawthorn. Hopefully scores well. This will be if Drury is out. So I will go and see what Philippou can do. And if he's good enough, I'll bench Pedler, put Drury on. If Drury's playing, though, or is likely to be a sub, because we won't know that one until that's a Sunday game, I will, which I can probably do with Pedler anyway. I can wait until then anyway. So I can pull that off, but I feel like I would just play Philippou over Pedler anyway. Philippou busted out of 70 last week, and he has got that ability to score, and just that Hawthorn matchup lets me do that. I think I'd go that over Pedler. In saying that, Pedler, and this is where Calvin, you can't have 40s. He was against Geelong for that 45, and that Bulldogs won at bloody, what's it called, Mars Stadium in Ballarat. Anything could happen there. But the 80 there, the 75, so even against the tight scoring pies, he was all right. So it is going to be a toss of a coin. If Drury's out, at least I get to play the loop with that, if that is how that works. So I'll have to wait till the 5 o'clock teams to even really make a decision on that. My trades as well, I will reverse this one because Cowan I will have to make tonight because he's playing tonight. And he's the right one for me to move at this point anyway. I think he's the furthest away from a game, which is disappointing because there's a few guys there. Like I thought Fleeton could have got us through to the buys, and even Chesser. Not that he scored a lot last week, but it's someone that might have been there. I thought surely he stays in there. Anyway, we'll see what that looks like as it goes through. So that is, where the Warne Dogs will be looking. Now, captaincy-wise, my plan was, and looking at the fixture, because I'm picking up Andy Brayshaw, and Calvin likes him a lot, he will be my VC, and that will go into my captain of Zach Merritt. I guess the beauty is that we've got a few players that we can be making our skippers. Like Harry Sharp's a really easy one because he is the last game of the round, and he's officially out. It's not even like he's an emergency for this week. So, yeah, I'll be able to do that, but that will also depend on where I'm looking. Where's my West Coast Saturday night? So I've got to be thinking about that because obviously and some people get stuck with their loops with this, is that if I was making Jinby my emergency there, I need to be smart about where they play. So in a way, that might even be a switch of that one to go Wilmot there because it gives me that time to apply that as it is. All right, let's have a quick look here now at the Stats Centre, and I want to go into the coach's choice, just look at the most traded in players. So something a little bit different here. Just looking at that. Now, Wardlaw tick. I think he's almost a must-have as we're looking for our players coming through. Obviously, a low break even of 6. He's probably got the best job security. I like the fact that he actually has that round 15 bye. No, some coaches are loaded there, but a rookie is a different story. Him playing through those buys and making money is just very important. So a few people have got that question. Is it him or Hobbs? I can afford Hobbs. I think, and I know there's the thing about playing on field, but I think we just need to jump on Wardlaw this week. I just think it has to happen. It does get harder to pick a rookie as such after that. Zach Merritt's a good pick there. So out of those guys, I did say I would go with Laird over Merritt, then over Brayshaw, but I've already got those two, so that's why I'm going Brayshaw. So you can see Merritt's there, Brayshaw's in there as the mix of one of those premiums, and there is Laird. I would say most of those coaches, and Tom Green's there too, most of those coaches are going to them from your Oliver or your Josh Kelly. So I think that's probably where that's all looking there. Other players in there, Zach Butter's obviously a great option, 8.42. He's that round 15 buy. I think I saw Calvin actually tweet today. He's going to move away from his deceptive ways, I think, of the way that he doesn't actually announce anything, but he can't do Butters because of that round 15 buy. That's an issue. I'd be okay getting Bailey Humphrey. 4.23 is a bit. Could you spend an extra 60 grand? And where does he sit in this list? Has anyone jumped on after Roy talked about him a little bit yesterday? Doesn't look like it. You've got Hugh Greenwood. I've actually had a couple of people slide into DMs about Greenwood. So Greenwood, only 69 coaches have done it. I know one of them. 483. So break even of 40. And so here's numbers that he's had. An 87 last week, 75. Does he rid the vest? Is it gone? I think that should hopefully be a thing. And does he stay in the side? So that's the key to that. Their matchups coming up aren't awesome, but I tell you what, he is as good as a Hobbs sort of pick. I think Hobbs looks nice because of the fixtures that he's got there. Lockie McAndrew, I wouldn't massively launch into this, but if it's a means of getting the cash, if you've already got Wardlaw, for example, means of getting some cash, you're putting him in at R3, I don't think you're ever playing him on field you're not picking him now to play on field. He isn't a terrible option. Let's hope that he can stay there. I just really worry about a lot of players with their... he's obviously got Hickey back, but I worry about players that have got the bye and things can reset. Mullen, now the Irishman, 200k. If he's okay, and even if he's not okay, he's a fair chance to come into my side next week because we do have the 3 trades next week to be looking at. Baz Lenker's in the list there, so it's kind of a Butters or Baz Lenker for a lot of people. The buys don't split them, as we've talked about. I think I would be going with Butters for the more secure role, but I do like Bailey Smith. I know Butters is coming off a 140, but I like Bailey Smith's sort of ceiling because he does play that high time on ground along the way. Josh Weddle, I couldn't trust. I don't think I'd buy into him at 395 while he is value, -4 break even and stuff. I look at those scores prior, 55, 46, 57, which are very serviceable as a rookie, but that's a rookie for your bench. And yes, I know we've got the buys coming and they are going to be bench-type players that have to play. But, yeah, the 102 against the Eagles, kicked a couple of goals in that. I'm not sure he's kicking many goals coming up with that. Rightio, so there we are. I've dribbled a bit of rubbish here today with what we've got. Hopefully it's helped you in some way. I'm not sure whether I have been much of a help, but at least if you're looking at my side, you're probably getting confidence about your team. That's probably one thing. I was hoping doing these weekly videos, it might be a good story of following the Warne Dogs and see how they go. Hasn't been very pretty at all. So anyway, that's my side, how I'll be looking, how I'll be lining up this week. I'll only be making my Cowan to Wardlaw move tonight, and then I'll be holding off on my Kelly to Brayshaw, but that's likely to be happening, and that has to happen tomorrow afternoon anyway, because that's a 2:10 game for Freo there. I did sort of somehow flirt with any other players that I could be picking there, whether that was a Jack Steele or going all the way down. I don't love going to Simpkin, but that could have been an option, I suppose. I don't know. I just don't love doing that. Taking some money into the bank into next week isn't a terrible thing, but I feel like next week's the week that I'll be quite happy to cash up. So if I was dumping some players next week and going into round 13 with some cash, which would be one of those things, because I'd love to be able to turn someone into Jack Steele after round 12. That's going to be one of my goals, I guess. You want to be trying to get at least one premium each week in from a mid-price or a rookie in each week of the buys, so that you are building your team and you come out of those buys with hopefully a completed team, which I think is almost going to be, not for some good coaches. Matt Mottram, go and have a listen to that podcast from Wednesday. That was with him. That's in the podcast feed. You can check that out. Check out last night's podcast and Monday's podcast. Heaps to listen to. There's plenty of time until lockout. Saturday morning even. Go and have a listen to those things as you've got. Now, I do have a couple of exciting things to talk about, and one of those is that we are heading to Perth on July 14, it's going to be. That's a Friday night. Melbourne are playing Brisbane, and we're pretty excited about watching that. Now, the venue... Is this an announcement? It probably is. We're doing it at the Camfield. So if you've ever been to the Footy at Optus Stadium, it's the pub that's there. So it's going to be a pretty exciting place to have it. Friday night, watch the footy. 5:50 it'll start Perth time. Melbourne and Brisbane. Watch that. Count up some points. We are there thanks to Game Day Squad. They're looking after us, getting us there, which is great. So tickets will be on sale on Wednesday night. So Wednesday the 31st of May. For our Patreon members, they will get early access with a bit of a code. That'll be on our Patreon page to how to get into that. And then general public will be on Thursday night. Now, that's the 1st of June. It'll be 7 p.m. local time, so that is the Western Australian time to be able to get those. We're piecing together what we're going to do. It should be a lot of fun. Whatever we do with our shows is always fun, and sometimes... there'll be some surprises, I think. We'll come up with some different things to be doing. I know Calvin will be packing his guitar and he's working on his Never Again list, his 2023 version. He had a couple of good ones from Adelaide, but he's got a few more to add in there. So if you've got any suggestions, actually pop them in the comments here on the YouTube video or over on DT Talk in the Friday Fantasy Fill-Up article. Chuck those in there. We've got it's going to be a fun night. It's going to be a lot of fun. So get along. And there'll be plenty of food and drinks there. Hopefully we don't drink the bar dry this time. It would be a pretty massive effort seeing all those people walking around with vodka cruises at that last one last year. So that was a nuts experience. So we are pretty excited about putting a show on and getting back to Perth as well. So that's in our school holidays. So that'll help us get through this term of school. The other thing too, knockout. If you haven't joined up to that, there's details on the DT Talk, so on dreamteamtalk.com. Go and check out also in the Friday Fantasy Fill-Up. There's a little bit there, and you can click on the article. You'll find out how it all works. It's free to enter. $250 to the winner of our knockout that we are donating for that. But if you are a member of our Patreon, you'll get $500 if you're the winner, and if you're the runner-up, you'll get $250. So pretty cool. Bit of a incentive to join our Patreon. If you haven't done it, had a look at it, jump on, even if you did it for a month, to have a look at what it's all about. We have on our Sunday night live stream, which is a heap of fun, the Green Vest Punishment, which has been part of that. Calvin ate a cup of grass last week, and he was actually quite unwell because of it. He's done quite a few things because he's been in the Green Vest. We've had 10 weeks. He's done 8 of them. Highlights, he walked across Lego. What else has he done? Did an ice bucket challenge. Ate 2 raw eggs. It's 3 filet fish burgers. He probably only did that in about 20 minutes as well. We did a good effort to do that. So that's on there. The Pintcast, which is a Wednesday night show, big Q&A, big talking points of the round, something a little bit different. And I guess the beauty of a lot of it is it's a bit more looser than what we do for our other offerings elsewhere. So you can sort of learn a little bit more about us. It's always over a couple of beers, which makes it a little bit more fun as well. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in. This has gone a lot longer than I thought it would, but good luck this week. Chuck in your trades in the comments. We'll see what they all look like. And any of your other thinking. Hopefully we see you in Perth if you are there. And if you're interstate, bloody fly over. It's going to be a good weekend. It's going to be great on the Friday night, the 14th of July. That's going to be a sweet fun. Just a hot tip, if you do want to get tickets, probably jump on it early because it did sell out last year. So I think the capacity is a little bit more, but it is... Well, they went like hotcakes. Unbelievable. It's actually one of those things that we are just 3 dickheads that talk some rubbish, but hopefully people enjoy it, which I think they do, judging by the numbers that we get on the podcast and stuff and the people that come along to those shows. And it's awesome to meet people. We just love it. It's going to Brisbane a couple of weeks ago was super fun, and there was a heap of legends up there, and it was great to meet so many people that we see on our phones through Twitter and stuff like that. So, thanks again. We'll see you Sunday night if you're on Patreon, Monday for the podcast, and almost every single day of the week. But I'll be back here next Friday for the Friday Fantasy Fill-Up and this YouTube video looking at the Warne Dawgs. Hope I'm not in the green vest. See you guys.